Oh, good morning. Yesterday was my dad's memorial service, and there are a few things on my heart that I was, of course, planning to say in some way or shape or form, but I didn't get a chance to. So I'm just recording this morning because I just need to say it. You know, it was so sweet. So many people came that were from every areas of his life, uh, and with some very sweet remembrances. And I thank everyone. If anybody ever sees this, great. If not, I need to just say it anyway. Um, we heard a recording of Dad and his testimony of Jesus, and he was very open about his struggles and his sins. And see, his sins were very evident, in gambling or alcoholism. And yet God used this man in my life that was dear and precious, but that would infuriate me. God used him to test my heart, to see which way I would go. There are times where Dad would be homeless, and my husband was gracious enough to take him in. There were times when I knew I didn't want anything to do with him, and I never wanted to be like him. And yet that kind, sweet heart would always come through, and God would required me to look at myself, examine myself to see if I be in faith. Did I see my sins always weren't so evident? It's the hidden things of the heart that Jesus is after, so that he can fill every part of it. My sin of using religion to hide behind, well, I know this about God, I know that, and not being able to let go of what my idols. Out of that arose an arrogancy that is just a stench, and a rebellion that was a rebellion against God himself, and trying to do the right thing out of fear, the wrong kind of fear. There's a fear of God that's good, but the wrong kind of fear of just not wanting to be like someone else because I was angry or irritated or disappointed. Hello? Our salvation has nothing to do with anybody else. It's between us and God. Now, God uses people, and he used my brother to shine the light of the glory of God shine into my heart, to give me the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. I saw the face of Jesus Christ come out of this man. And that's when those eyes of glory started examining the innards of me, my emotions and my heart, and what was locked up in there. And if it wasn't for God placing this man, my dad, just think about it. If there's somebody in your life that has had trials and tribulations like crazy, that is there, maybe, and it was for me, that God put in there to try me. So someone else had a hard time because God wanted to perfect me, or someone else did something wrong because God was perfecting me. Whoa, what love, what graciousness, what power and kindness. Don't ever look at me and tell me there's no God. The world is bad. The world in me was evil. What I determined was good had nothing to do with the goodness and holiness of who God really is. But through the humility and the pain and the brokenness of one man, God broke through to my heart. And then I had a powerful mentor who said, wake up. It's good. God really does use all things for the good of them who love him. All things, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, give it all to him. Because he's got a creation that is a new creature in you, in me, that is heavenly, that is eternal life here and now. There are times, I'll just share this, and I don't know, just because I want, but from childhood on up, when one time I came home and I had 4 brothers, and they were tying up this rigging up this string from the second story. There was this little balcony off the back of the house down to a clothes poles in the day of clothes poles, you know. And then my youngest brother, all wrapped up on these things, they were going to slide him down this rope to see how it would work. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, okay, no, 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 you're going to kill him, blah, blah, blah. I called my dad, or he was in town, I don't know, whatever it was. They were divorced at that time. And he said, oh, don't worry, he'll be okay. And I'm like, don't worry. What do you mean, don't worry? Well, he's still alive now. Don't worry was right, you know. When I was 13 and he showed up drunk at a what do you call it, a street dance in the small town we lived, I told him I was ashamed if I didn't want to dance with him, that I was going home. It was a big deal for me to be out at a street dance, you know, and that's when he went into treatment that time. So he told me that, you know, 40 some years ago. When I was getting married, I don't know if I ever told my husband this, but he said to me, honey, if you change your mind the day of the wedding and all the preparations, if you really don't want to do this, I'll go with you. I got a car ready. Of course, I'm sure he had a car ready so you can speed down the road, but I have a car ready. I'm going to stand with you, whether you get married or whether you don't. I'm standing with you. And he did. You know, we would run races, and I was in college, so this was a little before that, but he would say, and he was an avid runner at that time, and I was an athlete, but so-so runner. I would jog. So we were doing these 10K races, and there was one race I was just so tired, and he could have ran past me to finish the line, but he said, "No, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run with you. I know you're tired, and I always stay on the dance card with the one I came with, you know, something like that." He was always a gentleman. So many other memories, but he did. He when he saw the light of Christ 17 years ago, he clung on to that through all the continued trials and tribulations. And he rode that light beam of heaven all the way to the arms of Jesus. And I want to thank God for that. And that divine love that penetrated my heart to reveal my own sin, my own judgmental nature, the hurt and the pain. So God, he had to crack this hardened heart open to be able to get in there. And he's used many people, but he's used, if there's someone in your life that just infuriates you, that makes you mad, that hurt you, especially if they claim they were of God. The world's so more judgmental of men and women of God that are trying to work out our salvation in the fear and trembling before God, because it looks like a mess sometimes. A miracle. God's a disruptor. He's going to come in and shake things up, baby. He will shake them up so that you can fly free. You know, an eagle, all the other birds hide from a storm, but an eagle flies into the storm and gets on the current so it can soar up above the storm. That's the Jesus I know. And he has shined that light into my heart. Give me the light of the knowledge of Jesus in the face of Jesus Christ. Not the knowledge, but the knowledge is the living presence of Christ that is here and now. And he wants to shine out of you today and into you. I just want to thank and praise him. Thank you for everyone that came to the memorial service. There was someone, his brother was there the earliest person that knew him. His father and his sister have preceded him in death. A friend of 40 years, Carol Lutz, was there, my husband, and of course all his children came. Did I say this already? I don't know. I'm saying it again. It's friends from AA and friends that were coaches of some of the boys when they were younger. People from work, from Sureguard, John came. That was I worked with him for many years at Sure Garden. It's been many years since he's been there. A bunch of ladies from AA came that would bike ride with him and knew of his culinary omelet skills. And that sweet whistle. He could whistle like a bird. Many different bird sounds. He could whistle a whole orchestra. Friends from the building that he lived in, my friend Dr. Bertha Lanier, who gave a sweet opening prayer praising God and for the life of Edmund Allen LaCombe. My brother and Sarah, his wife, came to love and sing Sarah's song. It was a desire of Dad's heart to have Sarah sing at his wedding, well, wedding of the Lamb, but at his memorial service for how great thou art. This woman sang without any music, with just a cappella, with perfect pitch and key and love and the glory of God. It was magnificent. And the message that Andrew gave out of his heart, pure love. I don't know if I've shared this with many, but not only was it Dad's wish for, I don't think he thought anybody would come. All the boys came. And there's some of their family, thank you. I mean, the boys, my brothers, my children. My son flew from New York. The people from his building came, some of them, and then many trickled in later. To remember his Iowa Hawkeyes loving, he'd go down to the main lodge, and when he came down, they all clear around and turn the channel to be sure the Hawkeyes could be on. And his love for reading, he would read and read and read. That's what he left, was books. That's about all he had. He had his love for Christ. And my children that would come and bring him lunch and take him out a little bit and for lunch or coffee or something. Thank you all very much. I didn't share this, that his wishes, I took him up north a year ago, not this past summer, the last summer, to Lake Superior. He lived in Duluth for many years. And he would sail up there. He also had a chance to sail out in Marina Del Rey when Andy Mainen years ago made a way for him to do that. I don't know, probably other places that I don't know of. He also had rebuilt castles in France, and he did traveling, but the sailing was his thing, and so I took him to the water, up to sea. He loved to watch the big ships come in. And he'd asked, he talked about it then, and that's when he told me he wanted Sarah to sing How Great Thou Art, and that he wanted me to scatter his ashes over Lake Superior. And that's what I'll be doing. My youngest daughter Danielle will be coming with me. At the very same time, he's going to have ashes spread in a victory garden of love and resurrection, the resurrection garden. Because, Dad, you made it. You're free, and you're soaring on the wings of eagles, and a blessing in my life. I love you, and I'll see you again. Fly away. Sail away. Good night. Or good morning, I guess.